Hello and welcome back into another episode of Craving Some Raven, your one-stop shop for all your Ravens information. And I guess my opinions on that information, that's all it is. It's not your one-stop shop. I'm just a Ravens fan here talking over some Ravens news and notes, and we got a game coming up. We are playing the Philadelphia Eagles in our third preseason game. And, everyone knows this is the game of all games in the preseason. The starters play the most often in the Week 3 preseason game. So we'll get to see more and more one-on-one matchups. This is the dress rehearsal, if you may, for the regular season. And obviously in the fourth preseason game, it's all like roster cut kind of guys trying to make their final say as to what they want to do, if they want to actually make this team. Now, this game is awesome. We're facing the Philadelphia Eagles, and they are a very, very good team. They were, I guess, favorites to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl, or at least just make the playoffs. For most pundits around the NFL, anybody who covers the NFL has spoken highly of the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's understandable. They have a very deep roster. I thought they've drafted well in recent years, and they've had success. They made the run with Nick Foles twice. They won the dance, or they won the whole season not too long ago. What was that, 2018, 2017? And then, they've made a crazy, miraculous run with Nick Foles yet again, and they cut him. But, we will still have to face Carson Wentz in this game if he stays healthy. Hopefully he doesn't have one of those, my back's a little tight. Aaron Rodgers, we know what you did. Your back wasn't tight. Got a little nervous between your legs. You saw what the Ravens did to Minshew. So hopefully Carson Wentz doesn't get some back tightness. You can't see my air quotes, but hopefully he doesn't have that back tightness, and he plays. Hopefully for more than one quarter. I'm going to see our defensive starters, our corners, more importantly, face off against this deep Eagles roster. And they have a lot of good wide receivers, Alshon Jeffrey, the other guys. I can't think of their names right now. But I know they drafted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I was a huge fan of him coming out. I thought he's going to be a great wide receiver. So I want to see how our defenders play against him. And not only that, I want to see if I was right about him, as analyzing future NFL prospects or prospects in this past draft. I want to see if I was right. I didn't really watch any of their other preseason games, didn't hear any noise, didn't see any highlights. So I'm going to see if he's actually as good as I thought. They have their rookie running back too, Miles Sanders. I was a fan of him as well. And I think our cornerback group is going to have their hands full, especially when they got one arm tied behind their back now, with Tavon Young being most likely out for the season, or at least he won't come back until it's playoff time. If we make the playoff, which we will, playoffs, excuse me, which we're going to make the playoffs. Come on. So it's going to be very exciting to see how our defense does. Not only that, but the defensive line. I heard Daylon Mack getting some praise from these joint practices. And I'm hoping to see that carry into the game. I said last episode that I thought he is kind of like a 50-50 player. Sometimes you watch him and you see him getting pushed off the line, and you see some plays that you think he'd want to have back. But then other times you see he's in the right position, he's explosive, he can get into the backfield, and I want to see which Daylon Mack we get, whether we get the Mack truck or the Daylon McSchmalin, just the old Daylon. We either get Mack truck or just Daylon. So hopefully we can see some Mack truck action. And I saw that there were some players that didn't finish practice or these joint practices. Let's see, Marquise Brown didn't play. Seth Roberts, Marshall Yanda, Ronnie Stanley, Jermaine Illuminor, Randy Crecelius, Greg Senat, Iman Marshall, Chris Board, Otara Alaka, and Gerald Willis. And a lot of these names, Marshall Yanda, Ronnie Stanley, Jermaine Illuminor, Randy Crecelius, and Greg Senat, those are all offensive linemen, and some that are vying for starting positions, i.e. Jermaine Illuminor. And he had a bounce-back game in general from last week, and if he doesn't play this game because of some kind of injury, I guess he was carted off, so that injury seems a little bit more serious. We didn't get any updates. John Harbaugh did not say anything. He did not have any injury updates in any of his press conferences that he had in Philadelphia. So if Jermaine Illuminor is sidelined for this game, that's going to leave the door open for either Ben Powers or Patrick McCarry or Bradley Bozeman. Now, I think Bradley Bozeman is more suited to just be a backup center, because I think you want to have that position down pat. You want that guy to be locked in on the center position, because it is I think it is the most important position on the offensive line. He's going to have to touch the ball every single play, and with our style of offense, that's very, very important. We did have fumbling issues last year, so let's hope if he ever has to get into the game. Remember, Skura is not the cura, but he is played pretty excellent. You're not seeing him show up on tape, which is a good thing for an offensive lineman. You don't want to see anybody show up on tape, because if they show up on tape, it's only for bad stuff. It's rare that you see them on tape or they're highlighted on tape for good things. Just stop the defensive line and let the playmakers make plays. Now, I talked last week when I was breaking down the offensive line, or at least paying a little bit more attention to him during that week 2 preseason game versus the Packers. Ben Powers, he is a killer. If you ever hear someone screaming, that's Ben Powers. Ben Powers, if he gets a pancake, he is screaming a primal scream that only a hunter-gatherer would understand. He pounds his chest like Tarzan. It's awesome. So if Illuminor can't play, I would like to see Ben Powers get the nod with the starting offensive line. He was a left guard in college, so this position should fit him very well. He pulled well in Oklahoma as a pulling guard, and I think with Greg Roman's system, they're going to do a lot of pulling. Now, they're not showing everything offensive line-wise or really offensive-wise of what their game plan is, but they've been pulling a lot in the preseason. So we want to see him, get off, get some speed, get some weight behind him, and really attack a linebacker or someone who's attacking the hole. Really get in on them, maybe make another pancake, and hear some primal screams from them. So, like Ronnie Stanley and Marshall Yanda, we're going to hope that those aren't serious. I know Marshall Yanda, it was some kind of ankle issue, but they said he should be good to go. I'm sure you're going to have to pull him off the field, because he'll play through an injury. Let's just hope it just doesn't get worse. And then Ronnie Stanley, I don't know what's going on with him, but he always gets banged up, but he should be good to go. Imam Marshall wasn't playing, and I think they're just getting ready to stash him. I didn't really see him much in Green Bay. I don't know, not in Green Bay, but playing against Green Bay. So I don't know if he was injured then or what's going on with him, but it's looking like they're getting ready to stash him, because this seems like you miss a couple games in preseason and you're instantly stashed. So we'll see what goes on with that. Otaro Alaka, he did not finish practices, and I'm not a huge fan of this, because he's one of these guys that I want to see get some more action against some better guys, against the ones. I really liked what I saw from him this last preseason game, and even in the Jaguars game. You saw he didn't play that much versus the Jags, or didn't come in until like the fourth quarter. He played very well, so they started playing him in the third quarter, and then even in the second quarter a little bit when we played the Packers, and I thought he played excellent. I thought he looked like a true starter. I know we're going to have 2 undrafted guys starting, whether it be Chris Board with his concussion, or I think Otaro Alaka. I was more impressed with him than I was Kenny Young. Kenny Young was pretty quiet this past game, and I think without that huge hit, he would have been a little bit more quiet versus the Jaguars. I think he just had that crazy highlight play, so everyone was talking, Kenny Young, Kenny Young, Kenny Young. But I really do think that Otaro Alaka is the guy. Now, his downfall is his speed, but I've said before, I've said it many times, actually, that, you may lack that one step in speed, but he's 2 steps ahead with that, with his knowledge of the game and playing that linebacker spot. So, he's a step ahead of everybody. I didn't really get to see a chance or really get to see him in coverage, so I'd like to see what goes down with him. And this is all on the prospects of Chris Board not being in the starting lineup because of that concussion, and you don't know with head injuries what's going to go down. Now, I want to see Marquise Brown play, but seeing as he sat out the second day of practice, versus the Eagles, it seemed like they're still kind of being cautious with his foot injury. Now, I do want to see him in there, but, if part of the plan is to just not play him during the preseason, or maybe just the fourth preseason game, so be it. I'd rather see them be a little bit more cautious than, just throw him out there and let's see what you got, kid, because they know he's fast. They know he can make plays. But he's out there in practice still getting that timing down with Lamar Jackson. But you want to see it in a game, not just 11 on 11s, So at least Marquise Brown is still playing in 11 on 11s, so there might be a chance. But I would not be surprised if he sits out this preseason game. Now, I don't want that, but, it is what it is, man. I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to see Marquise Brown out there. I want to see him showcase that speed, which everyone knows he has, that huge playmaking ability. I just want to see him take the top off some defenses. And I in this game for the offense, I know they don't want to show everything, but I want to see Lamar attempt a deep ball. He only kind of threw one semi-long ball, and that was to Hayden Hurst down the sideline last week. And, it wasn't completed, but it was excellent coverage by Darnell Savage, ex-Maryland player, shout out. So it was a great play by him, and it was a well-placed ball, I think, by Lamar, looking at it a second time and a third time and a fourth time. I didn't really see that as a, wow, Lamar, you missed your man. No, I thought he put it in the right spot, put it where only your man can get it. Make your guys make the play. And, Hayden Hurst just couldn't quite get there. So I just want to see some longer balls thrown by Lamar. See how his deep ball looks in live game action. And maybe they just want to save that. But you can throw it up once. Teams know you're going to throw it deep at some point. So I just want to see how his long ball looks and how his timing is with his receivers down the sideline. And I know Miles Boykin, he was out maybe I think the first day of practice with the Eagles, but he's getting a lot of good looks versus the starters, and I'm apparently he's impressed versus the Eagles, and the Eagles have a pretty good defense too, or at least they have a really good defensive line, I know for sure. I don't know about their cornerbacks. I'm not really too 100% sure on who their guys are, but I guess he's looking pretty good, and I want to see him. I want to see him in this game, make some more plays. He was pretty quiet versus the Packers. He had that one drop pass and then the interception that was thrown towards his way, which was not his fault, and then that comeback route that he didn't come back for. He just kind of just drifted towards the sideline. So I want to see him get on a good page with Lamar, get some good passes between him and Lamar, because I think he's going to be in the starting lineup, be one of these starting wide receivers on this team. So I want to see him. I want to see him make some plays in this game, because these past two games it seems like he struggles early on. The bright lights get to him. You got to warm him up. He is like a race car, or like any car in the middle of winter. You got to warm it up a little bit. You can't just get in and go. You're going to cause issues. So hopefully he can get his mind in the game quick and early and has zero drops. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to see these drops. I just want to see some highlight level plays. And I want to hear some national media members saying, this Miles Boykin guy, he is getting it. And I've heard a little bit of that, but I want to see some play on the field that says, hey, he's number one. He's the guy. Great draft pick. As Marlon Humphrey, yet again, looking locked down in practice. And I saw some things. He picked up the bill when they were out to eat in Philadelphia. I think he's taken a real big true step into becoming one of these leaders on the defense. Lead by example. He seems like he's got a good head on him. Gives good head. No, gross. He's got a good head on him. He leads the right way, tries to lead by example, and he seems like he's getting on his guys, talking to people on the sideline, very engaged when he's not even playing, very involved in the game plan, and he seems like he's willing and ready to be the top cornerback. He's putting in the work, and I love seeing that, especially from a first-round draft pick. We're getting a guy who could potentially be top 5 in cornerback. I think he can be, but, it's still that potential. Everyone still has kind of questions. Not me so much, but if he's locking down in practice, hopefully he can lock down in regular games. Now, he had that one long pass against him versus the Packers, but after that, man, he was lights out. I talked about it in the last episode where he held up that offensive lineman who was pulling. God, who does that at the cornerback position? He stopped him like he was a defensive end, like he was like 50 pounds heavier than he actually is. Now, that is some strength. So he's got speed, he's got strength, and I think he's going to be one of the top corners. And I want to see him take on Alshon Jeffrey this week and stop him. I want to see no completions. Versus the Packers. The Packers were able to move the ball, but they only scored 13 points throughout the game. And you look at that and you're like, oh, wow, that's great. But we as Ravens fans, we're spoiled with defense. We've been spoiled since the very start, or at least since like early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, when they really got their identity as a franchise going as defensive powerhouse. And, we've been successful for a very long time. We've had some down years. We've had some up years. And I think this is going to be another one of those up years, especially even after all those people who left. And so, oh, what are the Ravens going to do? Ooh, what's going on? I think they can still have a successful defense. You allow 13 points, and I was mad with how they performed. Are you kidding me? How high is this standard? I mean, you can't be more happy. You can't be more happy. I mean, it's in today's NFL, where passing numbers are through the roof, where the quarterbacks can't be sneezed on, and you only allow 13 points, that is success, okay? Any team that only scores 13 points, that is a failure to the offense. And they're going back to the drawing board. And what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? And you know what? Thank you, Ravens, for making it stressful when an offense puts up 200 yards, because that is too much for a Ravens fan. 200 yards? Are you kidding me? That's nothing for any team. That is nothing. That is a failed day. So thank you, Ravens, for continuing this defensive dominance, and thank you, Marlon Humphrey, for being a first-round draft pick to have success with our team. Because sometimes we've had struggles with our first-round draft picks, or mostly our second-round draft picks, but it seems like we're getting better at that. EDC, shout out. And I saw that Anthony Averett, he had some looks in at the slot cornerback position. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking he was the answer, because I think he's a better coverer of the football. He is a man-to-man guy. I don't think he's as much zone, but I think he's still skilled at it. He just excels in the man-on-man. He's very sticky as a cornerback. Every receiver, they're slightly open on every play. There's no cornerback, no matter how locked down they are. There are windows that the quarterback can get it, and a perfectly timed ball will get past him. And I think Anthony Averett, he's just sticky enough to at least get in the way and try to get his hand on the ball, not making it an easy reception. I mean, open to me is like 2 yards, but he's within like 1 yard. He is right on their hip. And anytime you can be right on the hip, especially with our defensive playing style, where we're up in your face, up in your grill, blitz a lot, being that close to the wide receiver is excellent, because the quarterback has to make a quick decision and throws it quicker than he wants to. So he's got to be dime perfect. He's got to throw a 10 out of 10 ball. And I'd rather see them try to make that throw, especially under duress, than I would some guy, or at least against someone who's right there, right in the receiver's back pocket. Because then you have a chance to make a play on the ball, because that ball under duress is not coming out perfect every time. So we're going to have some chances to get our hands on some balls. And, speaking on that, I loved like Deshaun Elliott. I saw Baldinger, the finger man himself. He was breaking down some Deshaun Elliott tape, and he was super impressed by him, as I was too. I loved what I saw from him. Against the Packers, he allowed that catch and got his hand on the ball and ripped it out last second, and that's what we need. And he's flying around the ball. And in this, no Tavon Young defense, I think he might be one of the answers too. In a bigger package, he's not quite the corner type, but he's excellent in coverage, and he's just a great all-around safety. So it gives an excuse to Wink Martindale to get Deshaun Elliott on the field, put him in that slot cornerback role, have him roam around being that Swiss Army knife on the defense. And I think Deshaun Elliott can handle it, because I think he's a very willing, very explosive tackler, and he seems to be in the right place at the right time. He's one of these rabbit's foot players where he's got the rabbit's foot in his jockstrap. His dick is a rabbit's foot. No, he's just an extra lucky player where the ball bounces his way. So I hope Wink Martindale dials up some more blitzes. Don't get exotic with it. Just do some random blitzes. Nothing that's too crazy. Something that every team does. Save your exotic blitzes for the actual games when they count. But excuse me, I forgot what I was saying. Just blitz a lot, and I want to see I want to see Carson Wentz under duress. I don't want to see him get injured, but get to him. I want to see some tackles. And if Carson Wentz can't hang, then his knees, his shanana knees can't hang. I don't wish bad luck to him, but hey, have a bad game, break a leg. It's more on the offensive side of the ball. I want to see Pat Ricard. I guess that's kind of both. He's our mini fridge, as I heard Joe Newbo call him, because he's quite like the fridge, but not quite as big. So he's the mini fridge, which is a great nickname for him. I want to see him make some bigger blocks. Fuck it, put him at left guard. Let's see how he does. He's a big boy. He's not as tall as an offensive lineman, but goddamn, he is strong. In the run game, he will push people off the line. He's a great willing blocker in the fullback / tight end position that we got. That what's his face has got for him? Who is our offensive coordinator? Greg Roman. That's his name. Don't forget it. So I want to see him, get used all over the field on offense and on defense yet again. He's just super strong, super impressive, and he's had the most impressive preseason out of anybody. I am a huge fan of him now. At first, is he going to make this team? Everyone had doubts because he didn't play that much towards the end of the year. He got in Harbaugh's doghouse, in my opinion, because of, was it like racist tweets or homophobic tweets? I don't know. I think it might have been homophobic tweets. He was in like high school or something, saying something's gay, but in the old school meaning, not the old school meaning of gay, where it meant happy or actually gay, but in the old school meaning of gay, meaning that's stupid, that's dumb, wow, that's so gay. So I think he got in the doghouse because of that. Because anytime you do something as a professional player that puts yourself in jeopardy outside of the football field, you tweet something crazy, you say something crazy, you're going to get put in the doghouse for that. So hopefully his time in, time out really helped him get his ways straight, because now he's playing lights out. So maybe it did. The proof is in the pudding. And he looks like pudding because he is a big boy. I saw some Mark Andrews. He was making a bunch of highlights in these joint practices, and he's been doing that all preseason, practice-wise, throughout training camp. He's been having great rapport with Lamar Jackson. Rapport or report? I don't know why they. Stephen Colbert, even though it's Colbert. But he's had a good rapport with Lamar Jackson, but you haven't seen any of that in the game. You haven't seen him make any passes to Mark Andrews. I think, I'm hoping, conspiracy side of it, they're just holding him out, keeping him quiet in the preseason so teams kind of forget about him. But apparently in the practices, I haven't seen any of them, only some highlights and what people are saying who watch the game, is that Mark Andrews is killing it. He's got some swag to him, throwing the ball down with some fists of fury. And I love seeing that. I love seeing that competitive nature out of him. But we haven't seen it in the game yet. Like I said, why have we not seen it in the game? It can only be because they're saving him. That's the only reason. It's not because he's not that good, right? Right, guys? Right? It's just because they're saving him, right? That's what I'm hoping. That's really what I'm hoping, because we haven't seen much from him. And it's not concerning to me because he has been making these plays, and because he kind of blew up last year. Out of all the rookie tight ends, he had the most success. And he broke records, franchise records for yards, and I don't know about touchdowns, but he's made franchise records in yards and catches for the Ravens for a rookie tight end. And we've had tons and tons of great tight ends over the years who were rookies. Todd Heap, Dennis Pitta, someone else that I'm forgetting, I feel. But either way, he's breaking records, and that's always a good sign. But I want to see it translate to the preseason. Unless, like I said, they're just holding them out. Did I talk about Miles Boykin? I think I did. But Lamar motherfucking action motherfucking Jackson. This man right here. You talking about Lamar Jackson, who I've already spoken about, his Hall of Fame career in the making, his MVP finalist this year, Lamar Jackson? Oh, you mean him? I want to see him take over this game again, make some good passes. If he misses one, he misses one. But I want to see him take a few drives and score. I want to see some end zone scoring. None of this Justin Tucker bullshit, even though I love Justin Tucker, love seeing him kick, but it's boring. It's automatic. It's always going in. I want to see some excitement. I want to see Lamar Jackson run around. Now, I know some people say they don't want to see him run around and risk getting injured in the preseason. Bro, like I said last episode, he hasn't been touched. Yeah, he hasn't been tackled, that's for sure. He might have been touched twice, though. Like 2 hands have touched him. That's a clap. He got the clap. He's got the STD. No, he's only been touched by hands like twice. Maybe 3 times, if we're being generous. And he is super elusive, super sticky. I just love seeing him run, man, because he is so explosive, so talented. And we already know this, but I just love watching it. Because Lamar Jackson, the Ravens finally have a guy, and because in NFL, like on NFL Network, they have those ads where they're advertising stuff about the NFL, like schedule coming up, and they got like highlights in the background. We have never been on the good side of those. It's always that Christmas catch with Antonio Brown or the Tyler Boyd making that crazy play. But finally, we got a guy that even the NFL recognizes as a top talent, and they got to put his slow-mo highlights in the background of their advertisements because, they put the money makers behind their ads. And Lamar Jackson is one of these guys. And it's about goddamn time that the Ravens got an explosive playmaker who's making the cut, who's making the highlight reel ads. So, I am just, oh man, so excited. I got a boner just thinking about how awesome this offense is going to be behind Lamar. Not an actual boner, a football boner, okay? There's a difference. But yeah, man, I want to see Lamar Jackson make some of those easy throws again because that was something he was lacking in last year where sometimes he can make all the throws in the world, but his fundamentals would break down maybe towards the end of the game or, when he's just in the moment, sometimes his fundamentals would break down. And you could see this year he's made strides. He's made huge improvements in that department. So I want to see him continue that, keep his fundamentals throughout the whole game, make smart decisions, don't throw any interceptions. He hasn't as of yet, but he also hasn't thrown a touchdown. Just kidding. He threw one to Willie Snead. But I want to see him continue that streak of no interceptions. Because, once he throws an interceptions, all NFL analysts, we're worried. Oh, God, he's terrible. And it's going to be all this talk. It's going to be for that. Or people are going to get on their anti-Lamar phase again. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he throws some touchdowns. I want to see them in the end zone. I want to see some more Mark Ingram, baby. Mark Ingram, baby. He killed it. He killed it last week. And he didn't break a huge one. But those plays, man, he got like 5-6 yards a tote. I don't remember what his actual average is, yards per carry wise. But man, he was making good, hard runs when I don't think there was much of a hole to be had. So if he can do that, he can be great. I don't see him break one. Same with Justice Hill. He was excellent last week. We'll see him make some more explosive plays. Get in with some more with the starters because the Eagles, they have a great defensive line. They've had a huge rotation for many years now. So I want to see if our guys can get up on them and make some holes, and see if our running backs can hit those holes and make some good plays. They can hit those holes. That was not a hiccup. That was on purpose. And that, and then making those holes, it's the offensive line. And I've kind of already touched on it and mentioned it. But we got a lot of guys, it seems like, who didn't finish practice. So we might have a lot of guys sitting out. So this might be more of a second-team offensive line going against the ones. So we are gonna be tested. It might be a struggle with the running game. And then without the running game, who knows how well the passing game is going to be. But hopefully Lamar and his excellenceness, that's not a word, but your excellenceness. He's like a king, a sire. Sir Lamar Jackson. So let's see if he can make things happen with his legs, get the team out of trouble, make the right reads. Like I've already said, I just want to see this team have some success against one of the better teams, and especially in this third preseason game that is so important. That is the dress rehearsal of what you do in the regular season. Maybe not what you do, but for most of the starters, they're going to be playing. So you want to see everyone win their one-on-one matchup. and I think that might do it. Now, I'm sure I'll think of something, but this is not. I didn't write anything down. This is just all off the top of my head. I have not paused yet, so boom, suck upon that, motherfuckers. I just love Ravens football, and I seem to know my stuff. Just kidding. I am the most humble man in the world. Literally the most humble. So, all in all, let's shift things a little bit, because I love making some preseason predictions, game-by-game prediction. Who's going to win? Who's going to do terrible? And the first preseason week, we didn't make the playoffs. We did terrible. I went 6-10 on the games. That is terrible. That's like a top 10 draft pick right there. That's a failure, okay? But preseason week 2, after going back to the drawing board, seeing everybody after the first week, after reassessing what I thought about these teams, you know what I went and did in the second week of preseason? Going over these games, my game picks, you know what I went? I went 11-5. Motherfuckers, that is some playoff action right there. Now, it might be the wild card. That might win you the division. But 11-5? Fuck yes, baby. I'm back on it. Now, I was wrong about the Bengals-Redskins game. The Redskins lost that one. I thought they'd win. The Raiders-Cardinals, I picked the Cardinals, but you know what happened with them. And the Raiders, they had something the Hard Knocks prove, so they won that one. And the Bills-Panthers, I picked the Panthers, but yeah, Bills won that one again. Dolphins-Bucks, I didn't know what to do with that game, but I just picked the Dolphins because I thought they would just Dolphins their rebuild season. So I picked them to win. But the Bucks eked that one out. And then the Chiefs versus Steelers. Are you kidding me, Steelers? How are you going to go ahead and win that game? Chiefs? What the fuck? What are you doing? Huh? But those are the only games I lost, baby. Damn straight. So I'm going to go over my Week 3 preseason predictions. I'm going to have to pause it because I haven't looked these over yet. I haven't looked up these matchups. So I'm going to go game by game and figure that out and then come back to you guys. Come back to you and tell you who I think's going to win. And like always, I will be putting money on each and every one of these game picks, albeit only $1 or $2, but at least you know that I got some skin in the game. I got money on the line. Not much, but I got money on the line. So I want to be able to continue this. I don't want to have to put more money into my bookie account, because I want to just grow and grow each game, each week at a time, till next thing I know, there's like $300 in there. Started with 100. Let's see if we can't get to 300 or 500 by the end of the season. That is my hope. And obviously the Ravens, they are going for preseason week 16. So a full season of preseason games in a row. Let's see if they can win this one out against the Eagles. So I will be back in a second. For you, it'll be a second, but for me, it'll be 5 minutes. So we'll be back with you with my week 3 preseason game predictions. All right, so I am back, and I've made my predictions. Whew, this is a tough week, baby. We got records already. Some people are 2-0, some are 0-2, some are 1-1. So we got some tough decisions to make. So in the first game, it's Giants versus Bengals, and I have the Giants winning this one. I picked against the Bengals last week, and they beat the Redskins. Damn it. But I still think, for whatever reason, the Giants have found preseason success. I think Daniel Jones won't play, or probably will play quite a bit in this game, and he looks pretty lights out so far, trying to prove everybody wrong. So let's see if he can't go into Bengals country, and come out with a win. Next, we got Ravens versus Eagles. Come on. Ravens are winning this game. Let's be real. Even though it might be in the Eagles' home nest, two bird teams going at it. But I see the Ravens taking this one, and they come out on top with 16 preseason wins in a row. Let's get that full season count. If they don't, this would be the week to do it. Can't quite get it. Next, we got Panthers versus Patriots. I'm picking the Patriots. They're at home. I'm not picking against the Patriots. Next is Redskins-Falcons. Neither of these teams have a preseason win. The Falcons 0-3 because of that Hall of Fame game. But they've come up close in every single one. And I think the Redskins, they just aren't quite equipped defensively to come with those Falcons wide receivers who will get more time in this game. I'm looking for, who's the guy? Who's the guy? Who's their wide receiver? Not Julio Jones. Anyways, their young guy that we should have picked in the draft. Fuck, what the hell's his name? Either way, I think the Falcons come out with this one. Next, we got Packers versus Raiders. The Packers didn't seem all that impressive to me. Now, I thought they were able to move the ball well, but the Raiders, they've seemed to found some preseason, dare I say, magic, even though I've talked shit about that word and it being used with football. But I think the Raiders, they are at home, which I don't know how much of an advantage that is. But let's see if they can continue this preseason success. You know, they got a lot of haters. They got a lot of hard knocks talk around them. So I think they're trying to shut everybody up. And they got Antonio Brown coming back to practice. So we'll see if he plays and see if he can roll up on some Packers cheese. Next, we got Jags versus Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, once again, find their preseason greatness. They're trying to not win. Formula isn't working, and I hope they win again versus the Jags. The Jags don't seem very impressive to me either. A lot of people think the Jags will make a step this year, a step towards the right direction, but I don't think they do, and I think the Dolphins, trying to do their rebuild, really fuck it up and end up going 7-6 again, something like that. You know, not making the playoffs, or 7-9, but not making the playoffs, but not failing completely to get that first pick overall. Next, we got Browns versus Bucks. The Bucks very explosive offensively, not much of a defense, and I think yet again, like these Browns, similar to the Raiders, they got something to prove. A lot of talk about them, a lot of Super Bowl hype for them. Even after one season of mild success, everyone's picking them, and they've been trying to prove everybody right by winning these preseason games. So let's see if they can't eke out another win here. I don't know if you heard that, but I just farted. Speaking of Browns, with that fart, I have the Browns winning this one. Now, Bills versus Lions is the next game, and the Lions are at home, but I have the Bills winning this one. They've seemed pretty impressive throughout this preseason so far, and the Lions just don't have it. I think they're probably going to fire Patricia sooner rather than later, and they don't seem very enthusiastic or impressive at all this preseason. They're not looking like a good team, vying for that first overall pick, if you're asking me. Next, we got Cardinals versus Vikings. We finally saw some rookie, some strains for Kyler Murray, and we'll see if they can't get back to what they're supposed to be. But, you know, they're not showing everything, and they might come out flat-footed in the Vikings' home stadium. So I have the Vikings winning this game. I think they have a great defense, mildly decent offense. Not mildly decent. They got two of some of the best receivers, and Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. So I'm looking for them to take this win in Vikings territory. Then Bears, Colts. Both of these teams are all defeated, not undefeated. Both of them don't have a win yet so far in this preseason, and the Colts are at home, so I'm going with the Colts. I really don't know what to see from this game because both teams in the regular season are supposed to be some of the favorites in the AFC and NFC respectively. Getting into that championship level, like people talking, the Bears or the Colts could be in the AFC and NFC championship, but both teams have not shown well in the preseason. I just have the Colts getting this one because they are at home. Next is Texans versus Cowboys, the Texan Bowl, or the Texas Bowl. So I have the Cowboys winning this one because they are at home. Now, I'm sure they won't have home field advantage because it's going to be a lot of Texas people in that stadium, a lot of Texan fans and a lot of Cowboys fans. You know, it's just the way Texas people are with football. But I have the Cowboys winning this one. I think they have a better roster in general, and I have no particular reason why Zeke is holding out, but I still think the Cowboys get this one. And Saints versus Jets, both 1-1, and I have the Jets winning this one now. The Jets are at home, and the Saints are one of the better teams in the NFC. Like I said, another Super Bowl favorite type team, but I think the Jets have come out and proven that a lot of their off-season acquisitions and draft picks have been doing a lot. I think they have an excellent defense, excellent starting defense. As we know, they stole C.J. Mosley for us for $17 fucking million a year. Are you kidding me? That's still too much money. And they paid Le'Veon Bell a little bit too much money. So let's see if we can't get Le'Veon Bell in this game and see him play. And I think this is the game. The Jets win this one, and then all of the hype is going to be on the Jets. You know, that New York market, you know how it always overhypes everything. That and the Cowboys. But I see this being a turning point in the Jets franchises. Oh, Sam Darnold's the truth. Defense is excellent. I think we got ourselves a team here. And I think the Jets eke this one out because I think they are deeper roster-wise. 49ers versus Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs last week. They disappointed me. Now they are at home, and this is the game where most of the starters will be playing. So we'll get to see a lot from Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. But I loved what I saw from the 49ers. I think the Chiefs will jump out to a lead, maybe in the first and second quarter. But I think the depth at the 49ers, a lot of their young players are balling out. With Deebo Samuel and Jalen Hurd, and I think these wide receivers get some good playing time, garbage time, and end up eking out a win in Chiefs territory. So I got the 49ers winning that one. Next, we got Broncos versus Rams, and the Rams, they're just not a deep team, so maybe this game they'll have more success due to the fact that their starters will be playing more. But, a lot of their success comes from Sean McVay's scheme and his players playing in that scheme, maybe not so much winning their matchup, but his scheme being better than the other teams. And since they're not actually playing to their full potential, because they're not going to show everything, I think the Broncos come out and win versus the Rams in Rams territory. I don't even know where the Rams play. Is it where the Chargers play? No, because they're at home and so are the Chargers. But either way, I think the Broncos come away with this one. We'll see Flying Flacco with a Rams miracle, we'll call it. Preseason miracle. So Broncos win that one, in my estimation. And then we got Seahawks versus Chargers, and I have the Chargers winning this one. But the Seahawks and Chargers, wait, let's see. Let me rethink this. I know the Chargers, they don't have a win yet in the preseason. Let's see. I think the Seahawks have one. Let me go down this list real quick. Will you look at this bad boy? Yeah, so the Seahawks do have one, but they are in Chargers territory. And I just think the Chargers team is going to be good. They haven't really shown it much in this preseason, going 0-2, but I think they beat the Seahawks. No particular reason why, all that Melvin Gordon drama. But I do like their backup, their other backup running backs, Austin Eckler and Eddie Jackson, I want to say. No, not Eddie Jackson. Something Jackson, I feel. And, the Seahawks, they're not as strong defensively as they once were, and I just think the Chargers get this one. And next, the last game on the list is Steelers versus Titans. And as much as I don't want to do it, I'm picking the goddamn Steelers. The record is more important than my opinions, okay? So I'm trying to win some money here. As like I said, I do have money on this game, i.e. not that much, but I'm picking the Steelers. I think they are just a better team than the Titans. Now, it is in Titans territory, but Nashville, it's the music city, not the football city. So I see the Steelers coming out with a win on this one. And that is the Sunday night game. So the Steelers have success in night games. I don't know how much the Titans do. Now it is preseason, but I still see the Steelers coming out and winning this one. So that is going to do it for my game picks and this episode. If you could, drop a like, leave a comment. If you could, leave a 5-star rating if you're listening on a podcasting app. Once again, I am on all of them. I am on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, all of the main ones. I'm not on SoundCloud, but maybe I can get on there. But, if you don't have any of those other options, then what are you doing? What are you doing? You're slacking with your life. But if you could, if you're in the iTunes app, please leave a comment, give me a 5-star rating. That really does help. I'm trying to be on the first page when you look up in the app, Ravens Podcast. I still don't show up. Let's change that, people. Come on, please, man. I need some help. Y'all got any more of that, Ravens? Come on, man, just a hit. So, I am your host, Steven, and I will leave you with a Go Ravens. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.